Tensions between Southeast Asian neighbors Thailand and Cambodia have erupted into a full-scale military confrontation today, marking a dangerous escalation in the long-running border dispute. This morning, viewers, fierce clashes broke out along multiple contested areas, particularly near the disputed Ta Moan Thom Temple and other ancient sites. Thailand has confirmed launching airstrikes with F-16 fighter jets against Cambodian military targets, accusing Cambodia of initiating the violence. On the Cambodian side, reports indicate heavy shelling, including BM-21 rockets, impacting civilian areas in Thailand and leading to significant casualties. The Thai army has reported at least 9 Thai civilians have been killed, including a child, and 14 have been injured across several border provinces, prompting the urgent evacuation of thousands from affected villages. Both nations are now blaming each other for firing the first shots, with Cambodia condemning Thailand's actions as reckless and brutal military aggression and asserting its right to self-defense. In a dramatic diplomatic fallout, remember, both countries have recalled their ambassadors and closed all border checkpoints, deepening fears of a wider conflict. This sudden and violent escalation follows a rapid deterioration of relations in the recent weeks. The immediate trigger appears to be a series of landmine incidents that injured several Thai soldiers in July 2025, with Thailand accusing Cambodia of newly planting mines in disputed areas, an accusation that Cambodia vehemently denies, stating that the mines are remnants of past wars. These incidents have swiftly led to Thailand expelling Cambodia's ambassador and closing border crossings, which Cambodia retaliated by downgrading diplomatic ties and recalling its own embassy staff from Bangkok. Further inflaming the situation was a leaked phone conversation in June between former Cambodian Prime Minister and then Thai Prime Minister, which reportedly revealed comments critical of the Thai military and contributed to a political crisis in Thailand. This tit-for-tat escalation, combined with ongoing border provocations, has now set the stage for today's deadly clashes. The roots of this persistent conflict, however, run deep, stretching back over a century to the colonial era. At its heart is the ownership of the territory surrounding the 11th century Priya Vihar temple and other ancient Khmer temples along the Dangrek mountains. While the International Court of Justice in 1962 ruled that the Priya Vihar temple itself belongs to Cambodia, based on a 1907 French-drawn map, the exact demarcation of the surrounding border remains contentious. Both nations claim sovereignty over various patches of land, citing different historical maps and interoperations of the watershed line that was supposed to define the border. Sporadic clashes, sometimes deadly, have flared up repeatedly over the past decades, most notably in 2008 and 2011, when the dispute over the Priya Vihar's World Heritage status reignited hostilities. Nationalist sentiments on both sides often fuel these tensions, making a lasting resolution elusive. Today's events represent perhaps the most severe military escalation in years, transforming a long-standing border dispute into an alarming regional crisis. What does this mean for the region and for the world? We take that conversation forward. I have with me Dr. Sanjay Kumar. He is a PR and communications manager at Impact in Bangkok, who will be joining us. Also with me Ambassador Pradeep Kapoor, former diplomat, Pramipal Chaudhary, analyst, and Group Captain M.J. Augustine with us as well. Let me begin the conversation with, if I may, I don't think we have all the guests with us on the broadcast at this point in time, but let's begin with Ambassador Pradeep Kapoor. Ambassador Kapoor, I want to understand, sir, from your perspective, Thailand launching airstrikes against Cambodia, of course, for anyone who's been following the region for the past few months, would have picked up on hints by the Thai government and the Thai military that they were not too happy with the developments in the region, that there has been talks of a possible escalation. But in the current world scenario, where the Asian region or the South Asian region was seen as more stable compared to, say, the Middle East and to Europe. What do today's escalations between Thailand and Cambodia really signal to the rest of the world, sir?
Thank you very much, Devika. I had been ambassador to Cambodia from 2001 till 2005, and at that time also there were a lot of tensions in the Thai-Cambodia relations. The Thailand-Cambodia relations have been marred for a long time with a lot of, violence, clashes. And in the Southeast Asian region, I think this is one important relationship which has undergone a lot of ups and downs. I'll just tell you an incident which occurred during my period of being ambassador in Cambodia. In 2003, there were some statements that some Thai actress had claimed that the Angkor Wat temples, the world famous Angkor Wat temples, which are like one of the seven wonders of the world, belong to Thailand. That led to a lot of violence and sentiments against Thailand all over Cambodia. And in 2003, the Thai embassy in Bangkok was ransacked, absolutely ransacked, broken, attacked, burned, smashed. And the ambassador of Thailand to Cambodia and the diplomats who were working in the Thai embassy, the Thai diplomats, they had to flee for their lives, literally, because a mob was attacking from the front side. They were evacuated from the rear side wall. It was a very high wall on the river side, on the banks of the river, Tonle Sap. So they had to scale that wall, the ambassador and the diplomats, and drop down onto the other side, on the river side. And then a boat took them to another point of the town where they were given some shelter and they were saved. Otherwise, it could have been much worse. And the entire Thai embassy had to be rebuilt thereafter. So it was a very dangerous escalation at that time. But even thereafter, the Priya Vihar temple has been a bone of contention because some parts of the entrance of the Priya Vihar, Thailand claimed fell on its side of the border. And that had also led to violent clashes. And actually, one of the Indian scholars, one of the very well-known Indian scholars, Professor Sachidanand Sahai, who's an advisor to the Apsara Authority and of Cambodia and an advisor to UNESCO in Cambodia, to the government of Cambodia, Culture Ministry also. He had written a book on Priya Vihar. Now, this case had gone up to UNESCO also as to the temple to whom it belongs. And based on the findings from this book also, it was finally ruled by UNESCO that the temple belonged to Cambodia. And then thereafter, there was some sort of, diminishing of hostilities and tensions on the border, and Thailand agreed to that decision. But it seems that it is not a permanent settlement in their minds. So there have been a lot of clashes. It's mostly over claims of monuments primarily, that these, very famous, very phenomenal, some of the biggest monuments in the world were built by the Khmer kings of Cambodia. And Khmer kings were very powerful. They ruled over parts of Thailand, Laos, Myanmar, Vietnam. And they created a lot of Khmer temples in these countries also when they were ruling over them, parts of those countries. So that is where the dispute between Thailand and Cambodia currently lies primarily. And that leads to these, flare-ups and clashes and literally little wars. And Southeast Asia has other stresses and tensions amongst the nations. But in terms of violence, this is one of the more serious stresses and tensions in the Southeast Asian region. They will have to sit down together as two nations on a bilateral basis to see how to sort it out for the future, so that it does not keep on sporadically escalating to this stage. Thank you, Devika.
Okay, stay on with me because we have some news coming in. Details of Thailand's airstrikes in Cambodia have been released by the Thai media. As for local media, Thailand has deployed 6 F-16 fighter jets. They have released images of precision airstrikes and Cambodian military command posts. As per Thai media, the operation targeted the 8th and 9th Support Infantry Division headquarters, which were identified as key units responsible for artillery attacks on Thai civilian areas. Thailand claims to have struck 2 Cambodian bases as well. Group Captain M.J. Augustine with me on the broadcast. Group Captain Augustine, how do you view this sudden escalation between Thailand and Cambodia, given that we have more and more details now pouring in of the level at which the tensions have escalated between the two neighboring countries?
I mean, it has been brewing for a while, like Ambassador Kapoor has, enlightened us. We need to understand, the whole in the Southeast Asia, the drawing of lines on the ground, that kind of nation and nation state understanding hasn't worked well. The Westphalian mindset is absolutely new to this particular region. Post-treaty of peace treaties of Westphalia, we started drawing lines on the ground and saying this line belongs to you and that line belongs to, this side of line belongs to us and that side of line belongs to you. We have had a nation state which had something like, states behaving like a vassal state with limited autonomy, some influence of a majority state vesting on the minority state. If you look at the earlier times, kingdom, you will not see a line drawn, Gupta Empire or some empire. There is no line drawn. So post this Westphalian mindset, in fact, Tony Blair talked about it amply. The Westphalian mindset, Devika, has been a bane that has been, thrust upon this particular world. Everywhere. Not only in the Southeast Asian region, even in the Central Asian regions, and even in the Middle East, this Westphalian mindset has not gone down well, and every single problem has started in this world because of this Westphalian mindset. And this is a very, apt example of that. The Khmer Kings, the amount of work they have done in the limited capacity in building some great monuments, roads, accessibility through forest, unprecedented. And if you go to this region, it's not very easily accessible for humans. But the kings have, because of trade and other things, access to the other side of the sea. It may have been due to economic interest, but whatever it is, like Shershah Suri built a GT road. He didn't build a GT road for people. He built a GT road for economic reasons. So something like that has been done by these kings since time immemorial, thousands of years. And the bone of contention started, Devika, is when we drew the line on the ground. Drawing of line on the ground is something in this region needs to be seriously looked at.
Yes.
There is an example with us called Vatican. Vatican is a very small country which is inside Rome, and it is an independent country. But everything else, if you look at what a Vatican works, is something like this. The suzerainty of Italy is on Vatican. Everything else that Vatican enjoys is provided by Italy, isn't it?
Yes.
So something like that needs to be worked out here, especially for such issues. And there's also another issue which we are not talking about, the Golden Triangle and the drug route in being, very prevalent in this area. Could that be the reason? I'm just throwing a question mark. I really can't give you a definitive answer to that. Over to you, Devika.
Okay, all right. We have some more news coming in. We're told that Thailand has launched Yutta Bodhin in response to clashes with Cambodian forces along the border. Yutta Bodhin translates to the utmost battle for the defense of the land. As per Thailand's 2nd Army Area Command, the tank units have advanced, engaging in an assault to secure the same Thai area, and reciprocal attacks are going on in Chong Chom. So it does seem, Pramit Pal, as we're having this conversation, that there is now a deeper and deeper severe escalation in a traditionally peaceful region like South Asia, does that signal a worrying global trend where even stable areas are now becoming more and more prone to interstate conflict?
Well, Thailand and Cambodia, while they've had a long-standing issues on their border, they generally don't fight over them. The Priya Vihar incident, for example, was a small one. It passed. Now, however, a new temple, the Ta Moan Thom, is now the basis of the present dispute. But it really reflects, I would argue, the weakness of the domestic political situation. While outwardly stable, both countries are having major domestic issues. Hun Manet, the present leader of Cambodia, the son of Hun Sen, the famous previous leader of Cambodia, dictator, still in many ways the father still controls the country, is facing major economic headwinds, thanks largely, in fact, to President Trump's tariff policy, which potentially will cripple Cambodia's economy, which is largely dependent on exports to the United States. But Cambodia is geopolitically aligned with China, so it has very few friends in Washington. On the other side, of course, as Thailand has had a long-standing or continuing dispute between the military and the monarchists on one side, and the government of the Shinawatra family, in which present Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra, the daughter of the original Shinawatra, Thaksin Shinawatra, is presently the leader. She, it seems, tried to get an agreement with Hun Manet. They had a conversation where she complained about her own military, but that conversation was then leaked to the public, possibly by the Cambodians themselves, triggering a domestic crisis. Obviously, a prime minister who badmouths her own generals to a foreign leader immediately runs into a problem on the nationalist side. So it looks like the Cambodians were prepared to trigger an internal crisis within Thailand for their own domestic political reasons. And in problem for Shinawatra is that she is already facing major problems anyway with her own military, and in fact is presently being suspended as prime minister by the courts. So you have effectively two weak domestic internal situations in which at least one faction on both sides wants to use a nationalist crisis to establish their domestic preeminence. In fact, Thailand, though much larger a country, much more powerful in military, at least on paper, though in many ways Cambodia is much more powerful, is actually a more experienced military fighting nation. Its government is effectively in paralysis. Now there are rumors of a military coup potential, especially Shinawatra being blamed for this present crisis and being seen as effectively a fifth columnist against her own country. She has had to publicly apologize a dozen times already for her conversation with Hun Manet. But while I think my company, Eurasia Group, we don't think a coup is likely, it is, however, a true situation that this crisis, which is otherwise very minor in many ways, could potentially continue to spin for quite some time simply because of the lack of a strong domestic political situation in either country.
Okay, all right. I want to understand once again from, if I can go back to Ambassador Pradeep Kapoor for just a moment. Ambassador Kapoor, I want to understand we know that there are external powers in the region that do have their strategic interests. So how challenging would it become to prevent this bilateral conflict into, from becoming a proxy battleground for larger geopolitical rivalries?
So there are a lot of competing powers which have a lot of geopolitical interest, because since the time of Pol Pot, after he was overthrown, Pol Pot was primarily supported by the Chinese and hardly anybody else supported him. So after he was overthrown, the forces which overthrew Pol Pot were basically Vietnamese army supported by the Russians and the other countries supporting the Russian bloc. So only those countries opened their embassies. Very few embassies were opened in Cambodia at that time. So since that time, the Western nations developed a lot of antagonism towards Cambodia. So even when India opened its embassy in Cambodia in 1983, there was a lot of antagonism by the Western countries towards India also for this aspect. So there are a lot of geopolitical interests involved, primarily more so in Cambodia. Thailand also was used as a sort of R&R base for the American soldiers when the Vietnamese war was going on. So Thailand is more aligned to the Western countries and to US in particular. Whereas Cambodia geopolitically has had its shifts from the, Russia, Vietnam, and other communist countries bloc. Then India became a significant geopolitical influence. And while I was there as ambassador, they were very closely aligned with India. Then after some time, they have again been geopolitically aligned with China. So they do have very close links with India, both the countries. So India has some possibility again to talk to both these countries to get down the temperatures, and the ASEAN bloc as a group, the 10-country bloc, they can also do some sort of influencing the two countries to not continue the war between themselves. So these are two important blocks which will have an immediate impact. China, of course, also can talk to Cambodia and tell them to de-escalate. So all those steps will be necessary. But the problem, the root cause of the problem, also has to be addressed at some time in a peaceful manner between the two countries, which is the ownership of the different Khmer monuments which are on the border between the two countries. Once that is resolved, then there's a likelihood of peace being there in the longer term. Thank you, Devi.
Okay, I have Dr. Sanjay Kumar also with us on the broadcast, who joins us from Bangkok. Dr. Kumar, I want to understand from you, how exactly is the situation right now?
See, I was following the news since last 3-4 hours. The situation now is quite tense in between the Cambodia and Thailand, and we are following up. But I think just now I saw that there is a statement from China that they have requested both countries to de-escalate and then calm down for now and then start the dialogue. I think if you think that China jumping in between, it is a significant development right now, because China want to maintain relationship between Thailand and Cambodia both at the same time.
But so Mr. Kumar, sorry to interrupt you, because you're joining us from Bangkok. For our viewers sitting here, there is a keener interest to know what's the situation on the ground, sir. You're in Bangkok. Have there been any advisories that have been issued, given that we are now learning that there is more and more escalation? There's no news of de-escalation so far.
In Bangkok itself, people are a little bit concerned about the border conflict, but as such, there is no impact in the normal life in Bangkok. But in the border areas near the Cambodian border, yes, there are several things are happening over there. But as such, in Bangkok, I don't see any impact over here. But yes, people are concerned. And then I saw that a lot of Thai people, they're talking about that why Cambodia did that, why our people killed in the morning, in afternoons, and why. And what they're very keen to know how Thailand is responding to this conflict with Cambodia. So yes, border area, there are more concerns than in Bangkok. So Bangkok people are following the news now, and they are starting to talking on the social media and reacting in a more some kind of a hating manner with Cambodia. Yeah, that's the situation right now.
Okay, and Dr. Kumar, any advisories that may have been issued?
No. There are 2-3 advisories that coming now. So one thing that many international organizations, including U.S. Embassy, they said that people, U.S. citizens should avoid those areas and they should follow the Thai authorities. And there's a strict airspace control in those provinces. And yes, there's general advisory that be careful in the border areas and anything can happen, and be cautious about the situation now. But it seems now, yeah, there is a generic advisory. The Thai society, Thai people, the country as a whole, they are not very used to of such kind of military interventions with other countries. So for them, it's very, very shocking actually, something happened like this, because they are not, they're a very peaceful country and they want to have a good relation with everybody. And for them, it's a little bit shocking and hard to digest the news and the conflict, military conflict between the Thailand and Cambodia, that result into a kind of a civilian population affected through the military intervention. So that is a generic sense of Thai society, that they don't like such kind of things actually. Yeah.
Okay, Pramitpal, what exactly are then the neighboring countries looking out for as far as immediate implications are concerned of this conflict?
So right now, it's not really it doesn't really have any major international repercussions, partly because, as has been others have mentioned, the Thai and Cambodians have had border problems before, and they have remained highly localized. The border area, I think it's called Sisaket province, is far away from the major tourist sites, at least of Thailand. While Thailand is a formal U.S. military ally, and as I said, Cambodia is very closely aligned strategically with China, neither the U.S. or China are interested in getting involved in this conflict. And I think the Chinese statement, and I suspect we'll get a similar American statement very soon, saying that both sides should resolve this. One of the problems we're facing, however, in Southeast Asia is the rapidly weakening capabilities of ASEAN. ASEAN has struggled to respond to China in the South China Sea. It has struggled to maintain a common front on almost any political or security concern regarding Southeast Asia. And this may be a sign of its growing inability to even handle problems within ASEAN. And that would be a long-term problem for the stability of Southeast Asia.
Okay, all right. On that note, I thank all of our guests for joining us on the broadcast. That's all the time that we have. And with that, viewers, we step into a very short break.